Coming up in NBN News, Israeli authorities declare a state of emergency, preparing for retaliation from Iran after a series of airstrikes. The miracle survivor in the Air India tragedy that's left more than 260 dead. Biosecurity boost, the New South Wales Premier announces a $140 million package in the Hunter. Jerome Luai joins Blues teammates as he prepares for his Origin return. And thousands of school students take the stage in Newcastle for day one of Starstruck.
Beck, you've got 5,500, but we...
Tonight, a dramatic escalation in the Middle East as Israel attacks Iran's nuclear sites and scientists.
Hundreds dead and one survivor. An Air India plane bound for London crashes seconds after takeoff.
The Prime Minister on a security mission in Fiji on his way to the G7.
The major changes that could make Australia a world leader in the fight against prostate cancer.
And more bad news for the Blues and Eels, with the full extent of the injury to Mitch Moses revealed.
This is NBN News with Gavin and Natasha Beyersdorf.
Good evening. It's a fast-evolving and fragile situation in the Middle East as we go to where?
Explosions have been ringing out across Tehran after Israel attacked Iran, targeting nuclear facilities and killing 3 top generals.
In response, 100 drones are right now headed towards Israel, and the region again finds itself on the brink.
Tehran lights up as Israel makes its move. Targeting the rogue state's nuclear program, striking what's viewed as the heart of it, the Natanz nuclear facility, in what Israel has called a preemptive strike.
If not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year, it could be within a few months. This is a clear and present danger to Israel's very survival.
They called it Operation Rising Lion. 200 Air Force jets bombed 100 targets, buildings destroyed, in their sights top military leaders and senior nuclear scientists.
We will not let the world's most dangerous regime get the world's most dangerous weapons.
Killed in the strikes, the head of the Revolutionary Guard, General Hossein Salami. Iran's supreme leader survived and is warning Israel to expect severe punishment. 100 drones are on their way. Israel's Iron Dome readied. Tel Aviv's airport shut down. And a state of emergency declared across the country. The US had been warned the attack on Tehran was coming. Earlier this week, President Donald Trump warned off Benjamin Netanyahu.
Well, I'd love to avoid the conflict.
US Secretary of State Marco Rubio says tonight Israel took unilateral action. We are not involved in strikes against Iran. Iran should not target US interests or personnel. Only hours earlier, President Trump had still been pushing for a deal to restrict Iran's nuclear program.
Iran's going to have to negotiate a little bit tougher, meaning they're going to have to give us some things that they're not willing to give us right now.
In the coming hours, the president will bring together his National Security Council.
We're going to see a significant escalation in the Middle East, and I hope that the U.S. military forces are prepared for that.
We want to see these issues resolved through dialogue, and the United States has been playing an important role there.
The next move, and whoever makes it, is critical for the future of the region, which has once again found itself on the brink of all-out conflict. In the United States, Jonathan Kersley, NBN News.
Political editor Charles Croucher is in Fiji with the Prime Minister, who's travelling to a meeting of world leaders. He reports events in the Middle East could overshadow those talks.
The Prime Minister will leave Fiji and head to the United States and then on to the G7 summit in Canada. This was already a complex trip. The world's largest democracies meeting at a time of great uncertainty over trade and tariffs and great concerns about the war in Ukraine. For Anthony Albanese, you had the first face-to-face with Donald Trump at a time when America is reviewing our exports and the AUKUS submarine deal. But tonight, the eyes of the leaders around that G7 table will be on the Middle East and trying to broker some solution to a rapidly changing situation in the most volatile part of the world.
It's an aviation disaster that's left nearly 300 people dead and resulted in one miraculous tale of survival.
It's hard to believe. The man in the white t-shirt, a passenger seated in 11A, walking away from a crash which killed everyone else on board. The Air India flight appeared doomed from the beginning, taking off from Ahmedabad, bound for London's Gatwick Airport. The Boeing 787 Dreamliner struggled to gain altitude, flying low and flat before dipping out of sight as if it was landing. Then a huge fireball. Confirmation the aircraft, fully loaded with fuel, had gone down in a dense residential neighbourhood. On the ground, thick smoke, flames, and confusion. Rescuers rushing to the site, searching for survivors. Suitcases, clothes, and charred fuselage strewn everywhere. There were 12 crew and 230 passengers on board. Among them, 169 Indian nationals, 53 Britons, 7 Portuguese, and 1 Canadian. This couple sent a message to friends at the gate.
Just boarding. Goodbye, India. Goodbye. 10-hour flight back to England.
It would be their last. Also on board, 2 doctors and their 3 children who took this selfie to celebrate new beginnings as they prepared to move to London. The loss of life was not limited to the people on the plane. The aircraft slamming into a hostel for medical students. Parts of the aircraft flitted through the building, a section of the landing gear lodged in a shattered wall. Air India's chief executive could offer no explanation for the disaster, only sympathy.
First and most importantly, I would like to express our deep sorrow. I know that there are many questions, and at this stage, I will not be able to answer all of them.
Flight 171 had been airborne for just 11 seconds when the captain, Sumit Sabharwal, issued a Mayday call. Mayday, no thrust, losing power. On social media, Akash Basta claimed he was on the plane on a flight from Delhi 2 hours earlier, sharing a video of problems he found on board.
Nothing is working. Nothing. Not even the light is working.
And flight records confirm the doomed aircraft flew into Melbourne's Tullamarine Airport last Sunday evening and departed 2 hours later back to Delhi. The lone survivor, Vishwash Kumar Ramesh, was visited in hospital by India's Prime Minister Modi. He'd been talking to his family in the UK as the plane took off.
2 minutes later, he video called my dad. As he crashed, he said, "Our plane's crashed." All of that. I don't know where my brother is. I don't see any other passengers. I don't know how I'm alive.
Ramesh, with his boarding pass still intact, was travelling with his brother, who was seated in another row.
This is a miracle he survived. What about the other miracle for my other brother?
No more miracles, only misery. The family of Kathara Sharma among the shattered. The 22-year-old was one of the flight attendants on board. Damien Ryan, NBN News.
It's the miracle of seat 11A, but was it pure luck or did design play a part? And how will the investigation into the disaster unfold? James Wilson reports.
Air India Flight 171 taxied from the terminal before taking off from Ahmedabad Airport at 1:39 p.m. local time yesterday. Flight data from the 787 Dreamliner shows the aircraft rising to 190 metres before crashing 30 seconds later around 6.5 kilometres south of the runway. The sole survivor, Vishwash Kumar Ramesh, was sitting in seat 11A, a window seat in an exit row in front of the aircraft's wings. So, is this seat safer than others, or was this luck?
Sitting near an emergency exit, if the aircraft is able to do a forced or emergency landing, is usually the safest because you've got quick and easy access to the emergency slides.
The aircraft is the original 787-8 model of the Boeing Dreamliner, which entered service with Air India in 2014. There has never been a recorded crash involving this particular model until now. Indian air safety authorities will lead the investigation into the incident. They'll be assisted by the UK's Air Accident Investigation Branch. One focus will be the plane's wing flaps and landing gear, which were both out of position.
The combination of the gear being down and the flaps being retracted could have led to the situation.
The aircraft's 2 black boxes will also be examined, recording the last conversations between the pilots, who have more than 9,000 hours of flight time between them.
A woman has died following a single vehicle crash near Byron Bay. Emergency services were called to the Pacific Highway near McLeod's Chute about 2:30 this morning after a car veered off the road and crashed into a sign. On arrival, police located the body of a woman believed to be aged in her 60s. The crash is under investigation.
8 new high-tech garbage trucks will hit the road in Lismore from September. The vehicles will have improved safety measures like built-in cameras and fire suppression systems. Council says they will also be able to lift bins faster and have engines capable of running on biodiesel to reduce emissions. A $5 million New South Wales government grant funded the new fleet. The trucks will progressively roll out every 2 to 3 months.
Senior students from across the Northern Rivers got a look behind the scenes of the film and media industry today. The Screen Futures event in Lennox Head aiming to establish career pathways for young people.
Inspiring the next generation of Australia's film and media workers.
I do photography, which is really fun, and I want to learn about videography and cinematography.
Really eye-opening and awesome to just be around people that love the same thing that I do and talk to industry professionals.
Today, more than 200 young people from 20 Northern Rivers schools got hands-on experience in the Screens Futures event at Lennox Head Cultural Centre, rotating through workshops in camera and lighting, green screen work, costuming and acting and talent management.
So we're running a script with the students and they get to reenact a little scene, which is great.
Even getting behind the scenes to see how a live television show is produced and trying their hands at different roles.
Doing everything from the director and vision switcher in the control room, controlling the audio, being the floor manager, being the camera operators and lighting technicians, and even the talent. They were even in front of camera.
Funded by the state government's Regional Industry Education Partnerships program, the initiative hopes to educate students on roles available in film and digital content careers.
Interest from the students and the local schools is just huge. It's getting bigger every year.
Really need to be teaching kids at this level that this is a viable career path.
And it would seem it's working.
I am very, very interested in getting into the film and in particular musical theatre industry.
Monica Adair, NBN News.
Coffs Harbour residents can now help people fleeing domestic violence by simply donating their old mobile phones. Collection boxes have been installed at 4 hotels between Sawtell and Moonee Beach as part of a partnership with Coffs Rotary.
The latest data from the Bureau of Crime Statistics shows there were 694 domestic violence-related assaults reported across the Coffs Harbour LGA in the 12 months to this March. While slightly down from 759 in the year prior, it's still one of the highest recorded in regional New South Wales. Now the local community is being called on to help those escaping violence by donating their old and unused mobile phones.
We work with a number of people who are affected by domestic and family violence, and having a phone that you can actually communicate safely, that's a really important tool because phones can easily be tracked and traced. So this is a great initiative being led by Rotary in the area to give people a safe communication option.
Coffs City Rotary has partnered with the Sawtell, Tormina, Moonee Beach and Coffs hotels, setting up collection boxes for phones which will be refurbished and then distributed through charity DV Safe Phone.
The Woolgoolga Rotary Club started this off some time ago, and we're tacking on to that, and we're going to try and expand it. You know, I got quite a surprise when this guy said he's got 6 phones for your first bin.
The hotel's happy to jump on board, setting up the boxes in prominent locations throughout their venues.
Bob reached out to us and thought it was a good cause to get behind. We're always looking at where we can help support the community.
Like I say, we'll have internal advertising on our TV screens as well about the initiative. Hopefully get some kind of a tally or happening as to what's happening on the North Coast and how we're travelling.
Since 2020, DV SafePhone has distributed over 13,500 devices to victims through its agency partner network. Britt Ramsey, NBN News.
And if you or someone you know needs help, you can call 1-800-RESPECT on 1-800-737-732. Boasting acts including Old Merv's Josh Pike and the Bel Air Lip Bombs, the Festival of the Stone returns to Byron Bay tomorrow. Kids' activities and food will be available for the 11th edition of the event, which will double as the release of this year's batch of Stone beer.
And the best thing about it is a fundraiser for Fletcher Street Cottage, who do incredible work in our community.
The Homelessness Support Service fundraiser will kick off at 3 p.m. tomorrow at the Stone and Wood Brewery in Byron.
Still cold and set to remain that way overall right across the region, but warming nicely in the afternoon. We've had plenty of sunshine, helping conditions to hit the high teens throughout the afternoon. We should get back to the 20s over the weekend and into next week.
Still ahead in NBN News tonight, more on the Air India crash. Our Europe correspondent joins us from London.
Sentencing delayed for a serial flasher while court documents reveal his crimes.
And a safety conscious change for the Sydney to Hobart.
What's for dinner? Make a speedy tray bake or sauce and serve. For an easy pleaser, try Coles pork loin chops. On special for just $16 a kilo. With thousands of recipes online, what's for dinner? Coles.
Discover the beauty of coastal living at Palm Lake Resort Yamba Cove, a boutique over-50s community in the Northern Rivers region. With just 78 thoughtfully designed homes and the Vantage Country Club, it's your sanctuary for wellness, creativity and connection. This is your time to embrace more. Visit our Sales Information Centre or free call 1-800-960-946. The best in over-50s living. This is your time.
I like it.
With Macca's new $6.95 McSmart meal, you can choose your favourite side.
I like it.
Get a cheeseburger, small fries and soft drink, plus pick a side for just $6.95. Available every day. Sale. Save up to 50% off our entire range of slimline tanks and tank well pumps from 330 to 5,000 litres. 10 days only, 100% Australian owned. 1-800-68-69-70.
Best sheds up to 40% cheaper. Triple garage is $8,600. 4-car garage $7,250.
Best Sheds 25% off sale is on right now.
Call Best Sheds on 1-800-15-17-18.
Go Harvey Norman. Buy now with no deposit, 60 months interest free on a participating Latitude credit card and get a bonus gift card up to $1,000. Shop our huge range now with no deposit, 60 months interest free from Latitude and get a bonus $100 gift card for every $1,000 you spend. New customers must be approved. Minimum finance $1,000. T's and C's, charges and exclusions apply. Equal monthly payment plan and monthly credit card fee currently $10.95 applies. Don't miss no deposit, 60 months interest free from Latitude at Harvey Norman now. Looking for a place to play sports, socialise and be part of the local community? Become a member of Ocean Shores Country Club. Golfing, bowling, great food and dining at Pacific Breeze Restaurant. Plus live music and entertainment. Join today and enjoy the benefits.
What's for dinner? Make a speedy tray bake or sauce and serve. For an easy pleaser, try Coles pork loin chops. On special for just $16 a kilo. With thousands of recipes online, what's for dinner? Coles.
Return Turning now to one of our top stories, the disaster involving an Air India plane. Europe correspondent Jessica Millwood is at London's Gatwick Airport for us tonight. Jess, what's next for the fleet?
Well, the Indian government is right now considering grounding all of Air India's Boeing Dreamliner fleet while a safety review is carried out. We know that that doomed flight should have landed here at Gatwick Airport last night, and with so many Brits on board, the UK has sent a team of air accident investigators to India to assist in finding the answers to so many questions grieving families are tonight desperate for. Gav?
Jess, thank you.
As we reported earlier, the Prime Minister is tonight in Fiji with the Pacific Islands region at the heart of tensions between China and the West. Australia has pledged $500 million for aerial patrols in the area's waters to monitor illegal fishing boats, plugging a gap that could have been filled by China.
Great honour for us to receive the Prime Minister of Australia.
We are Pacific family, and Fiji plays such a critical role in the region.
Tonight, the two leaders will sit down for a formal dinner before our PM flies to the US.
Court documents have revealed the lengths a serial flasher went to expose himself to dozens of young girls around Newcastle. The 56-year-old's victims telling police he left them feeling scared and vulnerable.
This was Peter James Bowman 3 months ago, his last taste of freedom before being remanded in custody. Now, district court documents have revealed how the 56-year-old would approach school-aged girls, mostly around 3:30 p.m, and sit and pretend to tie his shoes, all in a ploy to expose himself. On 8 separate occasions over 2 years, the 56-year-old flashed 22 girls aged between 11 and 17 in several Newcastle suburbs. In one incident in 2022 at Hamilton South, 2 victims, both aged 14, were walking along in their school uniforms and saw Bowman sitting on the edge of the footpath wearing baggy shorts with his legs crossed. He looked at them and smiled, then looked at his groin area. The teens saw his genitals exposed and Bowman staring at them as they ran away. In statements to police, one victim described feeling scared, vulnerable, intimidated and targeted by Bowman's actions, while another told officers she no longer felt safe walking on her own. Bowman has pleaded guilty to 22 charges. He was supposed to be sentenced in Newcastle District Court today, but proceedings were adjourned to a later date. Jessica Warboys, NBN News.
Following the deaths of 2 sailors in the 2024 Sydney to Hobart, the Cruising Yacht Club of Australia has made recommendations to improve safety. The most significant, more than 50% of all cruise sailors must have already completed the race. The 2025 edition begins on Boxing Day.
Heavy rain overnight and today fell across Port Stephens to Seal Rocks. The wet weather is thanks to a passing trough, creating a large bank of cloud over the Newcastle region to the Macquarie coast. Inland, widespread sub-zero temperatures cause the formation of frosts. The trough is forming a shallow low that is going to move away from the coast throughout tomorrow. Showers from Gosford to Port Macquarie will clear throughout the day. More frost for the tablelands, cold for the Hunter and northwest, hitting the high teens and low 20s for the north coast into southeast Queensland.
Coming up next, overdue and over budget, another major defence project comes under fire.
The reforms that will see more Australian men tested for prostate cancer.
And the country's 3rd biggest jackpot ever goes to just one winner.
The Subaru sale is on. Now's the time to get behind the wheel of a Subaru.
Your home is precious, so are the things inside. And keeping them safe shouldn't cost a fortune. Quote and buy your home and contents insurance online with GIO, and you can save 10% on your first year premium. Get a quote today.
Welcome to the Lipton Tea Factory, where we pick the finest quality leaves that make this natural velvety cuppa the #1 tea brand in the world. Lipton Quality Black. Every sip's delish.
Cancel all plans cold. Or a camera-off kind of cold. Lemsip for warm and effective relief from cold and flu symptoms. However you cold and flu, Lemsip it.
Why should your workday start like everyone else's? If you use your hands, keep this firing, this moving, this flying. If you travel for work, travel undetected. And visit places you can't find with a hashtag. Because this is more than just a job. This is an ADF career. Make your impact. That's all the balloons we have.
Lucky eight, sir.
Someone's in for a surprise. Kiss, the pen is mightier than the sword.
Well, your party plans may be up in the air, but at least your insurance is sorted.
It's good you're with Budget Direct.
Insurance sold with Budget Direct.
Pucker's Herbal Teas dive you into a world where honey mingles with lemon ginger trees, or where lavender dozes off with chamomiles. Pucker, discover a blend of herbal wonder.
They're always surprised at the affordability, and they often wish that they'd done it sooner. We love building confident smiles, helping build confidence too.
Go Harvey Norman half-yearly clearance. Huge deals on King Coil by AH Beard. Cairo Reserve Queen mattress just $14.99. Or the amazing Cairo Estate mattress only $18.99. Plus bonus standard local delivery on selected purchases. Best prices guaranteed at Harvey Norman now.
Fig Tree Estate Kyogle. Generous acreage lifestyle block sized from 2 acres to 6.3 acres. With almost 50% sold. Don't miss the opportunity to build your dream home amongst these beautiful natural surrounds. For more information, contact PRD Northern Rivers.
It was the centrepiece of Donald Trump's response to the LA protests. Now a judge has ruled his deployment of the National Guard there was illegal. The administration is fighting the decision as cities across America prepare for another weekend of discontent.
It's the kind of tussle that's been playing out on city streets across America. This is Californian Senator Alex Padilla being forcibly removed from a press briefing held by Donald Trump's boss of Homeland Security.
Also, I want to talk...
If this is how the Department of Homeland Security responds to a senator with a question, you can only imagine what they're doing to farm workers, to cooks.
Donald Trump's raids on illegal immigrants sparked fury in the City of Angels, the US president deploying the National Guard and Marines against the wishes of Californian Governor Gavin Newsom.
We are staying here to liberate the city from the socialist and the burdensome leadership.
But today, a federal judge ordered Trump return control of the National Guard back to California, ruling the deployment was an overreach and illegal. The decision, though, is now on hold until next week, when it will be assessed by an appeals court.
This decision was important because it's about constraints, it's about limits, it's about our democracy.
The downtown LA curfew has done a reasonably good job at keeping this kind of disturbance and these clashes to the daylight hours, but all eyes are on the weekend because major demonstrations are planned and there are concerns that these protests could again turn into riots. And it's not just LA, cities around the country on high alert. In Florida, this was the stark warning from police.
If you throw a brick, a firebomb, or point a gun at one of our deputies, we will be notifying your family where to collect your remains at, because we will kill you graveyard dead.
Battle lines drawn. In Los Angeles, Reed Butler, NBN News.
Chronically over budget, delayed and lacking firepower, experts say a troubled Navy project should be scrapped. And it's not AUKUS, rather a shipbuilding operation being overseen by the same British company that will be building Australia's nuclear submarines.
Australia's next warship is based on this British design, given the Royal Seal of Approval. Australia's modified version, the Hunter-class frigate, is embroiled in massive cost blowouts and huge delays.
Beyond scandalous, it's entered ludicrous mode. If you're in a hole, stop digging.
In 2018, BAE Systems won a $35 billion tender to build 9 frigates, or $3.8 billion each, the first to be in service by 2027. By 2020, it blew out to $45 billion, or $5 billion apiece. Defence now saying it'll cost $27 billion to build just 3, or $9 billion each, the first to be in service by 2034, 7 years late.
Costing an exorbitant amount, taking a ludicrous amount of time, and underarmed.
Defence analysts saying German or Japanese ships could be delivered more cheaply by 2029.
Faster than the Hunter, even though they're starting 7 years later. You know, that's how bad the Hunter program is.
We can't chop and change like the last coalition government, because if you keep chopping and changing, you never actually build anything.
The Hunter frigate debacle helps explain why the government might be hesitant about increasing defence spending when existing projects are so badly handled, especially with the emergence of unmanned drone technology. Defence conducting tests of the Australian-made Ghost Bat at the Woomera Air Base. It'll be trialled with missiles later in the year. Andrew Probin, NBN News.
Global financial markets have reacted swiftly to the escalation of tensions in the Middle East. Finance editor Chris Kohler has the details.
An immediate drop was seen on multiple share markets as Israeli missiles hit Iranian military sites. Wall Street, the blue chip European index and Japan's Nikkei all fell sharply, the ASX also dropping quickly into the red. Those markets are now factoring in the risk of worsening conflict in the Middle East. The Australian dollar was also impacted, losing about half a US cent in value as soon as reports of the missile strike surfaced. The oil price soared 7%. At one point, it was on track for its strongest day since the COVID crisis, meaning a bigger initial reaction was seen today than when Russia first invaded Ukraine. That oil price will be a key focus over the next few weeks, while the gold price rose even further due to its reputation as a safe haven asset. Oil and gold stocks naturally outperformed on our market, while Qantas shares tumbled alongside other airlines following the deadly Air India crash. Tonight's session on Wall Street is likely to be bumpy as investors adjust for the uncertain outlook.
More Australian men will be tested for prostate cancer as part of a world first changes designed to boost early detection. Dozens of men are diagnosed across the country each day, and thousands of cases are only picked up after the disease has spread.
Overcome with emotion, Craig Watts describes the shock of his diagnosis.
It was like a nuclear bomb went off. It was just like a bomb going off. I'm afraid it's not good news. You've got prostate cancer and it's spread through your body.
Delivered just days after his mum's funeral, an ultrasound for a hernia raised red flags.
Really, that hernia probably saved my life because I had no symptoms.
About a third of cases are diagnosed late, which is why testing is being revamped.
To ensure that men in Australia have access to the most up-to-date, world-leading guidelines for the early detection of prostate cancer.
Among the changes, offering a baseline PSA blood test to men aged 40, a world first. A stronger push for GPs to offer testing to all men aged 50 to 69 every 2 years, scrapping a previous rule that discouraged testing men over 70, and for those at high risk, earlier and more frequent testing from aged 40.
We have stronger recommendations about men with family histories of prostate cancer, because if you have a father, a brother, an uncle with prostate cancer, your risk is higher.
The changes follow a 2.5-year review by leading experts. The new guidelines will be presented to government authorities next week for final approval.
If you think there's something wrong or you feel that you should be tested more often, please don't take no for an answer.
Gabriella Rogers, NBN News.
Just one Australian won the Powerball jackpot last night. That's a whopping $100 million. As we go to air, their identity remains a mystery, but we do know they're from Sydney's eastern suburbs, home to some of the country's most expensive postcodes. The jackpot is Australia's third biggest on record.
Let's move to sport now with Montanna Claire.
And there's some high praise for Jerome Luai.
Good evening, guys. Rugby league great Peter Sterling has tipped a recalled half to star for the Blues, but the news isn't good for the man he's replaced. The latest on the injury to Mitch Moses next. Plus another blow for the already short-staffed Knights and a milestone for Pat Cummins at Test Cricket Showdown.
No problema.
That's funny. Anyone want more wine? Yes. Why should your workday be like everyone else's? This is more than just a job. This is an ADF career. Make your impact.
Hi.
Hi.
Family holiday?
Yeah, we're really looking forward to spending time together.
Have you been before?
No.
Go Harvey Norman half-yearly clearance. Save $1,000 on Samsung 75-inch mini LED smart TV, now under $2,000. LG 12-kilo front-load washer, now under $1,000. Save $500 on Dreamy robotic vacuum and mop. Best prices guaranteed at Harvey Norman now.
Super Cheap Auto, get 25% off everything when you buy any 2 items or more. That's right, this and this, 25% off. Or this and that, get 25% off. Sale online only tonight, in-store and online tomorrow. Make it super. Super Cheap Auto.
New. It's smacking delicious. Fanta lemon. Try it now.
Pucker's Herbal Teas dive you into a world where honey mingles with lemon ginger trees, or where lavender dozes off with camomiles. Pucker, discover a blend of herbal wonder.
Big personality. The first ever Kia K4.
Kia, movement that inspires.
You want to smoke, sis?
Nah, I think I'm ready to quit.
Solid.
Financial year deals at Nissan just got bigger. Until June 30, get $3,000 cash back on select variants. Plus, get 1.9% finance on select variants when you finance with Nissan. Head into your local Nissan dealer today.
Already ruled out of Origin 2, the news got much worse for Mitch Moses today. The Eels captain's calf injury is set to see him sidelined for up to 6 weeks. Meanwhile, returning Blue Jerome Luai has been dubbed the perfect replacement by one of the state's best ever halves.
The Blues trading training for a day on the greens. Teammates happy to have their number one hype guy back in camp. And while Jerome Luai's golf game needs work, the former Panther is tipped to slot in seamlessly alongside his old halves partner.
You know what you're going to get from Jerome Luai. Obviously, he's got a great relationship with Nathan Cleary, so that's a real plus.
Speaking at the launch of the Eels Foundation, Blues great Peter Sterling was full of belief.
For the people in New South Wales, we don't lose any confidence because we know the kid can get the job done.
Matt Burton remains the state's 18th man, which means he can't play for the Bulldogs on Sunday.
It'd be great for the system to be looked at in the future where hopefully, those 18th men could play and then go
do that job and take on that responsibility, but right now it is what it is.
Cameron Serraldo's wishes unlikely to be granted anytime soon. The NRL telling 9 News the game's governing body has no plans to change the current rule.
We've challenged Birdo to go in there and become a better footballer and bring it back to the Bulldogs.
The ladder leaders no longer the laughing stock of the league.
There's a lot of headlines I look back and laugh about, but even a few this week in comparison. So.
They centred around Reid Marnie and his body language after being benched against the Eels.
It's sort of been blown out of proportion, but it's what it is.
The coach insisting the hooker was disappointed with his own performance, not because he had to make way for Lachlan Gavin.
Well, the one thing about Reid that we love is that he wears his heart on his sleeve. You know, it's all right to be disappointed after a game, as long as you're putting the team first and getting back in here and working hard. So that's what Reid's done.
Zach Bailey, NBN News.
A rare treat for the Sea Eagles tonight. They have both Daly Cherry-Evans and Tom Trbojevic available during the Origin period. Manly meets the Titans on the Gold Coast. Danica Mason and Brad Fittler have the late mail.
Well, Friday night footy sees the Gold Coast Titans up against the Sea Eagles. An exciting matchup. Brad Fittler alongside me. Good to see you.
Danica.
Now let's talk about the big one all week. We have been discussing this. Daly Cherry-Evans, he's back in clubland after being dropped from State of Origin Game 2. What are you expecting to see from him tonight?
There'll definitely be a reaction. Even after the first game, they went and played the Cowboys up there, and he was fantastic. So, given the amount of scrutiny on him at the moment, I think he's still got some champion games in him, and I expect him to be good tonight.
Another handy in for the Sea Eagles, Tom Trbojevic, he comes back from injury. What are you expecting he'll bring to this side?
Well, given that Lehigh Opawati was knocked out 5 minutes into the game last week, it's a real handy recovery from the point of view of Tom Trbojevic being back. He's been out for 2 weeks. He's only played 7 games this year, and he's only scored 1 try. So I'm expecting a big game from him as well, because they're sitting on the fringe of the 8, and they need this win to catapult into the 8.
Yep, plenty on the line tonight. 2 desperate sides, and of course you can catch all the action on 9's Wide World of Sports.
The Sharks have rallied for a desperately needed win, beating the Dragons 30-18 in a seesawing derby. Cronulla overturned an 18-6 halftime deficit to snap its 2-game losing streak.
We haven't performed for a couple of weeks. Even a result today was irrelevant. It was a performance that was needed. So needed to see what we want to be, what we want to do, and not take an outcome away. We just need to play like the Sharks want to play.
In a sour note for the Sharks, their outside backstocks may have taken another hit, with Mawini Hiroti sent for scans on a calf injury. Sam Walker was just days from ending his 9-month absence from the NRL. Now he's recovering from surgery after breaking his hand at training. He'll miss at least 4 weeks, but already he's looking forward.
He's quite a mature guy when it comes to that. It's like, okay, well, that's the way it is, and okay, well, I'll get training done. He's a glass half full guy.
Trent Robinson has all but confirmed tomorrow's clash will be Dom Young's last game for the club. He's set to join the Knights after he plays against them. Any reinforcements can't come soon enough for Newcastle. It suffered another injury blow. Fletcher Sharp has been ruled out of the Roosters clash, forcing a late reshuffle with a gritty Hunter prop set to make his debut.
Gave him every chance, but I just think now it'd be a bridge too far to push him out this way. Smiles on a lot of people's faces, haven't watched, his development and then how he's performed for the team.
Kyle McCarthy will slot into the centres while Matt Arthur joins the bench. The reshuffle also creates a spot for young forward Brock Greachin. He'll make his NRL debut. The coach saying the 22-year-old from Denman shows similarities to Knights great Billy Peden.
He's the exact mould of what we want a Knights player to look like our local was. He's just tough and gritty.
It means 11 of Newcastle's 17 for tomorrow night have come through the club's pathways.
We've said for a long time that we needed to make sure that we're really developing a strong pathway system, and I feel like the club's on the right track with that.
And while Kalen Ponga's away in Maroon's camp, Adam O'Brien stepped in to quash new rumours his star fullback is considering a switch to rugby union.
This isn't brand new around Kalen. Someone's always writing something, but...
The World Test Championship final is set for a tense early finish as ball dominates bat at Lords. Australia leads South Africa by 218 runs with 2 wickets in hand heading into day 3. Captain Pat Cummins leading from the front and bringing up a milestone.
Fast bowling royalty living it up at Lord's. Murph Hughes in the stands, Pat Cummins on the pitch.
That's in the air, take it. Good shot catch.
Defending a small first innings total, Australia needed quick wickets. The skipper stood tall, then had a fall.
And then the clash. T-boned.
Before relaunching his attack.
Out in the air.
Cummins claiming 6 wickets for the innings, the last his 300th in Test cricket. Only 7 other Aussie bowlers have joined that exclusive club.
I think as a fast bowler as well, 300s, something I always kind of thought about as, pretty good sign of kind of durability and resilience. Yeah, I feel pretty proud to join that group.
Australia had a 74-run lead that looked shaky from the start.
Edge gone.
The top order tumbling. Only 2 of the first 6 batters making double figures.
South Africa well and truly on top.
One of them, Marnus Labuschagne, but his 22 won't be enough to stop critics calling for him to be dropped.
I think first of all, middle of a test match, so we'll work that out, later on.
A 61-run 8th wicket partnership between Alex Carey and Mitch Starc saving the Aussies from disaster. The fate of the World Test Championship likely resting with Australia's fast bowlers.
Hopefully we get another 20 or 30 in the morning. That'd be good. I think that would give us, a few more options to bowl.
Luke Sufferson, NBN News.
Coming up next, Lani Pallister puts the world on notice at the Australian trials.
Booking.com has all kinds of stays. Because what's right for some might not be right for others. Find exactly what you're booking for. Booking.com, booking.yeah.
With remote connect features and advanced safety technology, no wonder Barry got himself the all-electric Toyota VZ4X. Charge on. Toyota.
Your favourite Wonder Bread just got healthier.
No!
It's okay. It's Wonder's 5-star range with new additions and the same Wonder taste.
Amazing!
Best of both. A blend of 50% white and 50% whole grain flour and soft wholemeal with 30% more protein.
It's the best thing since ever!
Try new Wonder 5-star Best of Both and 5-star soft wholemeal.
Looking for a place to play sports, socialise and be part of the local community? Become a member of Ocean Shores Country Club. Golfing, bowling, great food and dining at Pacific Breeze Restaurant. Plus live music and entertainment. Join today and enjoy the benefits.
Hi, Sprinkle Club loyalty members? No? Well, for every $5.20 you spend, roughly, you earn around 30.
Keep it simple. Earn IGA cashback with new IGA rewards.
At Palm Lake Resort Yamba Cove, this is your time to embrace more. Visit our sales information centre or free call 1-800-960-946. The best in over 50s living. This is your time.
The end of financial year deals at Nissan just got bigger. Until June 30, get $3,000 cash back on select variants. Plus, get 1.9% finance on select variants when you finance with Nissan. Head into your local Nissan dealer today.
When it comes to marketing your business, television is the ultimate influencer because with TV advertising, it's all about the big picture. 100% of the screen, 100% focused on your business. And with 9NBN, you can reach more people more often, and that means more customers. We'll work direct with you to create a professionally produced commercial and effective advertising campaign to target the right audience for bigger impact. Get results. Contact us at 9nbn.com.au.
Fig Tree Estate Kyogle, generous acreage lifestyle block sized from 2 acres to 6.3 acres. With almost 50% sold, don't miss the opportunity to build your dream home amongst these beautiful natural surrounds. For more information, contact PRD Northern Rivers. This report brought to you by Harvey Norman. Half-yearly clearance on now. Best brands, best range, best prices. Guaranteed.
It's been labelled one of the hardest courses in US Open history, and the world's best golfers probably agree after round one. Shane Lowry took out his anger on a microphone at the challenging Oakmont course, but not everyone struggled. American JJ Spawn leads at 4 under. Adam Scott is the best of the Aussies, cutting an even round. Ariane Titmus had to watch on from the pool deck as Lani Pallister broke her national 800 metres freestyle record, clocking a blistering 8:10.84 at the Australian swimming trials, a time that would have won gold at the last Olympics. Carl Chalmers was thrilled with his win in the 100 metres freestyle, swimming faster than he did in Paris, while Kaylee McEwen won her third title of the meet with ease, touching the wall 5 seconds faster than her nearest rivals in the 200 backstroke. And Paralympic champion Ben Hans lowered his own world record in the 100 metres backstroke multi-class heats ahead of tonight's final. Japanese star Kota Mizunuma says he's excited to play an entire A-League season in Australia after re-signing with the Jets. The fan favourite spent 5 months in Newcastle after joining the club in the middle of the last campaign.
2025-26 シーズンまたジェッツでプレーすることが決まりました。
Mizunuma scored 2 goals in 12 games and set up several more. A top-of-the-table grand final rematch will be the highlight of Group 2's 7th round this weekend. Woolgoolga will host the Nambucca Roosters, coming off their first loss of 2025.
Poor discipline cost the Nambucca Roosters on Sunday, Maxwell handing them their first loss since round 13 last year. And it's a performance they can't afford to repeat when they travel to Woolgoolga on Sunday.
I think the side that controls the ball in this game will win it. We know if you give Nambucca too much ball, they'll put tries on you, and Woolby showed that last week in the second half against Sawtell that they got all the ball in the second half and they won the games.
Though they will be bolstered by the return of captain Tyrone Roberts-Davis.
It'll be a big game out there this weekend. They'll be very physical, very entertaining.
Maxwell looked clinical at home against the Tricolours. They're hoping to take that momentum to Grafton on Sunday.
They've got a new halfback. He's from overseas, and I think his structure and how they work around it's going to be quite good.
The Ghosts, despite a promising start to 2025, have dropped in recent weeks. Their latest loss at the hands of Coffs.
They dropped too much ball, and it was one of them games could have went either way. It was just the bounce of the ball and a bit of the Coffs, they held their nerve and hung on to that ball better than Grafton and got the game.
One Saturday game this week, the Comets hosting the Rebels, who have significantly improved on last year.
You can't give the Rebels the ball. When they got the ball, they're dangerous. Coffs have got to be very percentage orientated.
There is still one catch-up game to be played.
We're hoping that the Weather States final, we can play that halfway through the second round. If not, the clubs will end up with 1 point each.
Britt Ramsey, NBN News.
Fixtures have been announced for the upcoming Hockey 1 season, with the New South Wales Pride taking 3 of its home games on the road. Newcastle is locked in to host the Pride's Round 3 clash against Melbourne on Friday, October 24. Michael Dalton from Byron Bay is set to progress through to the knockouts tomorrow at the State Golf Croquet Championships. 4 different groups played across Lismore, Ballina and Byron Bay clubs today in Day 3 of the championships.
Battling it out on the green for Day 3 of the New South Wales Golf Croquet Championships, attracting players from across the border and New South Wales.
2 ladies from Brisbane. We've got a bunch of people from South.
4 groups playing each other in the singles tournament across Ballina, Lismore and Byron Bay croquet clubs.
The 4 top place getters make it through to the knockout, which starts tomorrow morning.
There's already been some standouts.
Claire Warriner, she was one of the pairs in the double that won the final yesterday.
As well as some high-performing local stars.
Michael Dalton, the Byron Bay player.
16 players chosen to make it through to the knockout series tomorrow. 8 will play at Byron Bay and 8 at Ballina.
They will play best of 3 games.
The finals will be held on Sunday at Ballina Cherry Street Sports Club. Monica Adair, NBN News.
Tash and Gav, that is our look at sport.
Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Tan. The weekend is here. We've had our fair share of cold conditions, still lingering somewhat, but a little bit of good news on the horizon. Details next.
Full-time on public housing freeloaders. Tough new laws. Stopping the laws.
An absolute mess.
A current affair next.
Why should your workday be like everyone else's? This is more than just a job. This is an ADF career. Make your impact.
Not your alarm. You'll sleep when you're dead. Even that sore shoulder from yesterday won't stop you, because this will be the closest you'll get to a break. New Celebrex Relief, where it's hard because you do.
If you do want me, you'll be at the show. You don't want me, don't leave me on. Just sign up, my baby, to show me that you're mine, girl. Alright.
Toyota's nationwide dealer network is here for the long run to keep Australia moving, because every step matters. Toyota.
I really missed you, Maggie.
I'm sorry. I just need a minute.
Sometimes when
Is everything okay between you two? Cal asked me to move in with him.
that's a big step. Need to find what's in all.
I have no intention of retiring.
Look, I get it. I'm not good with change either.
Take it to the top.
I think there's something you're holding back. Until you figure that out, I don't think there's anything left to talk about.
The brand new season of Sullivan's Crossing, now streaming only on Stan. Over 5 acres of trees, native shrubs and exotic plants. Huge range of fruit trees, indoor and outdoor plants, pots, planters and much more. Buy direct, save heaps. Remember to say hi to Sally at Kingscliff Nursery, Coogin Road, Coogin.
A help company will get people back on their feet, make complicated stuff simple, and even try to predict the unpredictable. So that's what we're doing. NRMA Insurance, a help company.
Well, cold. Cold at night, but again, not bad during the day. Enjoying overall a beautiful run of winter weather for the Northern Rivers into southeast Queensland. Very little in the way of rain. It was very wet around exposed coastal areas up to about Port Stephens, Seal Rocks, and generally that's been it from this system here. Further north, we've been lucky to enjoy increased sunny periods, as we've done for most of the week, and generally there's more of that to come. There is a low that's going to be moving off the Coffs Coast, but we're going to be north of it and generally fine yet again. A succession of fronts now consistently closing in on southern Australia, so we're seeing this maintain the cold air mass that is dominating at the moment, making for very cold, frosty nights that have been felt all the way into Queensland, with another on its way to South Australia causing showers. The other one triggering showers at Perth, but ahead of it fine for Hobart and Melbourne. Cold starts for the capital. Sydney, if
few more showers on the way, but that's going to break down. Brisbane out of the teens tomorrow, so back up and over 20 degrees like the Alice, and the dry season is spot on at the moment. 16 on the Cape, so exposed areas feeling the chills. Otherwise warming nicely after this very cold start, down to 2-3 degrees. Freezing conditions, frost over the northern ranges, but we warmed nicely into the high teens. Even the Tweed down to 2 degrees this morning. Another cold start. Those clearer skies just help that cold air to drop down the eastern slopes and fall into our valleys. And these south-westerly winds have been carrying the cold all the way to the coastal fringe. Might see a little bit of mid to high level cloud, maybe see a little shower there hit the exposed coastal areas of Cape Byron, maybe just brush some of those other coastal communities there in between Ballina, Lennox, Byron. You might get a little something there, but that's about it, if anything at all. Generally fine, but we are going to have a little bit of cloud return, but therefore cold at night, but not as cold as this morning, and a little bit milder tomorrow. High teens and some 20s expected. Strong wind warning for Byron coastal waters remains in place because of those southwesterlies. Sun to rise 6:37, down just before 5, hitting the high tide tomorrow morning 10 o'clock, dropping right throughout the afternoon. Still seeing 2 metres of swell. Low 20s, getting warmer as we move into next week. It's a lovely run. We've got sunshine, dry conditions, cold nights, particularly throughout our inland communities, but we're going to start to consistently escape the teens by the time we hit Sunday for everyone. So there's some nice waves. We've got a lovely little swell running our way as well, combined with the west-southwesterlies. Nice, clean waves are on offer up and down our coast. So again, it's certainly worth a little bit of a weekend hunt, deal with those cold mornings, but at least we have been lapping up that sunshine. So have a fabulous weekend.
You too. Thank you, Gav. And that is NBN News for tonight. Current affairs next, followed by the footy.
So thanks for all of the NBN team.
Good night.
Good night.
Hello, I'm Alison Langdon. Welcome to A Current Affair. Now is the time for restraint. It's the plea from leaders the world over as Israel launches an attack on Iran with fears the Islamic country is moving closer to a nuclear bomb. It's a dramatic escalation of conflict in the Middle East. Our Prime Minister Anthony Albanese weighing in from Fiji.
We, of course, are very conscious of the threat that Iran becoming a nuclear state would represent to peace and security in the region as well. We want to see these issues resolved through dialogue, and the United States has been playing an important role there.
And as we go to air, Iran's retaliation has begun. It looks calm right now in Tel Aviv, but there are reports of panic buying and all flights have been halted. He called it Operation Rising Lion.
A targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival.
Tehran woken in the early hours of the morning as a blast rang through the city. The conflict between Israel and Iran tipped over the edge as Tehran substantially increased its nuclear technology.
We will continue down our own path. We will have enrichment.
The strikes hit residential areas while people were sleeping. We don't yet know the extent of the death toll, but it will include children. Several senior Iranian leaders are also dead. It was an attack even Netanyahu's close friend Donald Trump said he didn't see coming. Just yesterday, the US president was still committed to diplomacy.
We're fairly close to an agreement. We are fairly close to a pretty good agreement. I don't want them going in because I think it would blow it. Might help it, actually, but it also could blow it.
But it seems his ally didn't get that message.
Long live Israel and long live America. Our action will help make the world a much safer place.
Netanyahu is promising attacks will continue until the nuclear threat is over. Who knows how long that will be? It is a scary time, and Michael Shoebridge, Director of Strategic Analysis Australia, joins me. Michael, thank you for your time. It is ugly. How much uglier is it going to get?
Well, Ali, it is going to stay very ugly from the point of view of Israel being determined to do repeated strikes against Iranian's military, Iran's ability to launch strikes against Israel. But the core thing that Israel's trying to do is damage and destroy as much of Iran's nuclear program as possible. And the flip side is Iran is going to want to strike Israel as hard as they can, and that's already started. You mentioned about 100 Iranian drones already attempting to attack Israel.
Yeah, and Israel has just said in the last hour that it's intercepted all of those drones. Tell me, how much of an impact did it have on Iran's nuclear capability? We know most of their facilities are deep underground.
Well, I think in human terms, we already know that 2 of Iran's top nuclear scientists have been killed, and I would say several more. And also, a lot of their research and other facilities are above ground and targets. So we know they will have been damaged. Setting back the program by killing some of their top scientists will help. But the strike has also affected Natanz, one of their top enrichment facilities. But as you say, Ali, the hard problem is the really deep underground facilities.
You just point out there that they've taken out top nuclear scientists. They've also taken out military leaders. I tell you what, you don't want to get tapped on the shoulder for that job, do you? Israel has eyes and ears everywhere.
No, I think the worst phone call anyone in Iran is getting now is to be congratulated on becoming the head of the Republican Guard or the Iranian military or the nuclear program.
So, Michael, this has been simmering along since October 7. Why now? Why did Israel do this now?
Well, you're right. This is really, people might think this is a new conflict, but it's a war that started actively on the 7th of October with those attacks from Hamas. But why now? Because Israel has already damaged and degraded Iran's 2 key proxies, Hamas and Hezbollah. And also, Israel really damaged Iran's air defense systems back in October, the last time Iran fired a bunch of missiles at Israel. Also, the Trump-Iran peace talks just broke down, and the International Atomic Energy Agency just declared that Iran was formally in breach of all their obligations and had enough enriched uranium for 9 bombs.
So who is going to step in and deal?
Nobody. What is going to happen here is Israel is going to continue to do targeted but very damaging strikes against Iran's military leadership, Iran's military capability, missile production and launch sites, drone production and launch sites, and nuclear facilities. And Prime Minister Netanyahu said this will be a prolonged campaign. So we should expect this to go on, I would say, at least for weeks, potentially longer.
So President Trump is keen to avoid US troops in the region being targeted. Do you believe him when he says he didn't know Israel was going to attack?
Well, he may not have known precise timing, Kevin Rudd's programmatic specificity, but he did just ask to have US non-essential people evacuated from the region. Also, I think what Trump is trying to do is stop Iran's retaliation being against US military personnel, but I think America will help Israel defend itself against Iran.
I mean, Trump's got enough going on at home, doesn't he? We know he turns, we got the riots. He turns 79 this weekend too. The US Army is marking its 250th anniversary with a huge military parade planned in DC. This isn't something we usually see in the States or any Western country, is it?
No, large military parades and tanks driving down main streets and aircraft flying overhead to celebrate some kind of anniversary is something we usually see in China, in Moscow, or in North Korea. So it's very odd to see it happening in what's meant to be the beacon of freedom and democracy.
Yeah, and Prime Minister Albanese will be visiting the US soon. He's been angling for a meeting with Trump, with AUKUS under threat, tariffs, but it's terrible timing, isn't it?
Yes, Donald Trump will be focused on many, many other things. You're right, his domestic situation and now this widening conflict in the Middle East. But maybe Mr. Albanese really doesn't want a meeting because the last thing he wants is Trump saying something unexpected, blunt and ugly about something like AUKUS.
Look, I mean, it is hard to see how this de-escalates in the near future, and I know that we are far from the conflict, but many people have family there, and there are economic consequences, are there? Price of oil, supply chains affected.
Well, oil prices have already spiked 8% just in the hours after the attack. More of that will probably happen, particularly if the Israel-Iran conflict broadens between the two countries. And we've already seen international air traffic divert all over the place because the Middle East is an international airline hub.
All right, well, look, we really appreciate your time, Michael, and of course we've got to remember at the heart of all of this, innocent civilians are caught up on both sides. Thanks, Michael.
Thanks, Ellie.
Well, it's intended for our most vulnerable, putting a roof over their heads when they most need it, helping them get back on their feet. But as with all good things, you get a few bad eggs who rot the system. Well, that stops now.
We were absolutely shocked that the Department of Housing would actually let someone into our community like that without any checks.
It was an absolute mess.
It was a case that was truly mind-blowing. How could the housing department hand the keys to this beautiful resort to a wanted criminal, claiming he needed emergency accommodation, only to steal whatever he could carry?
So this wasn't a burglary. He was given keys by the Queensland Department of Housing that allowed him to commit crime.
Christopher Obansky was one of the victims, speaking out after his son's bike was stolen by Corey William George, a wanted criminal in Victoria who'd fled to Queensland and landed himself a free Sunshine Coast holiday, stealing an Audi Q3 on departure.
Wanted criminals in the state of Queensland, they don't get put in a jail cell, they get put in a luxury waterfront apartment.
The good news is the rules have now been changed to prevent this ever happening again. Sam O'Connor is Queensland's new housing minister. How badly has emergency accommodation been handled in the past?
Really badly, and you've highlighted one of the worst examples. It was just whoever wants to come in will come in, and there was no questions asked.
He says a new framework ensures emergency accommodation is now accessed via homelessness services, with candidates needing to also be eligible for social housing. Is this an end to the free holidays courtesy of the Department of Housing?
Absolutely. This is a program for vulnerable Queenslanders who are eligible for social housing.
The Corey George case isn't the only example of shocking abuse. A social housing tenant from Ipswich presented to the Sunshine Coast claiming to need emergency accommodation, also receiving a taxpayer-funded holiday.
So they had an empty social home that they still held, but they were getting a free hotel motel. It was extraordinary.
The law eventually caught up with Corey George. He took the stolen Audi on a 2,000-kilometre joyride before it was written off and dumped outside Colac, Victoria. He was eventually arrested in South Australia. He spent 3 months in jail there for serious criminal trespass and theft, and then another 4 months in prison for the car theft and other offences. Removing those who abuse the emergency accommodation program ensures its survival for the people who really need it.
We were struggling to get hotels and motels come on board with the program because of the tenant damage that was being caused. So we've got the mess cleaned up from outside, Dan.
The new government is also promising to bring back accountability to the small minority of social housing tenants who abuse their taxpayer-subsidised home. The damage in here, I mean, ceilings are ripped out, there's walls ripped out in the other room.
Yeah, it's
pretty significant damage.
It's extensive, and it's in a great location here with a big yard. This is exactly the sort of place that we want to get one of our vulnerable families into.
The 3-bedroom home in the Logan area south of Brisbane used to look like this. Previous tenants have now been evicted after years of complaints, the minister promising a tougher approach. What's your message to the small minority who think it's okay to treat a property like this?
It's a privilege to be in one of these homes. They are beautiful homes. We have a great team who care for them, and in a housing crisis, we're not going to accept it.
The impact of a tenancy like this affects the entire neighbourhood. This social housing tenant says she welcomes a tougher policy.
I hope they take a stand on it, because we're given the opportunity in these houses to, make a fresh start, make a life, and there's people out there living in tents that deserve opportunities.
It's estimated to cost around $70,000 to get this home back to a livable standard. Work will commence soon, and it could be ready for a new family in a matter of weeks.
This would be a beautiful home for a single mum with a couple of kids. That's exactly who we're trying to help.
Last year, A Current Affair reported on several cases involving violent and antisocial behaviour from ratbag tenants.
I want to fight you or suck my proverbial.
This man, Troy Bennett, was convicted of assaulting grandmother Debbie, only to be moved into another social housing complex where he terrified more elderly women. What's it like living near Troy Bennett?
A nightmare. A complete nightmare.
Bennett was eventually evicted after years of torment. New Minister Sam O'Connor says behaviour like that will not be tolerated any longer.
We don't want to be evicting people. We want to be properly managing tenancies. We want to make sure that there's a deterrent effect and that people know there will be consequences for bad behaviour.
Next, we go deep inside Nono's kitchen, and the smells coming out are something else. To be clear, in a good way.
In a culture where the woman, the nonna, is in charge of the kitchen, I thought it's very rare to find a nonna that can cook.
Queensland's loss is family's gain. TCE captains the Seagulls against the must-win Tigers on Friday night footy. Then Sunday, the Dogs are howling, sitting proud on top of the table. They're having a party already. The Bunnies pushing for top 8 with this, and they're on their way.
South against the Bulldogs.
Sunday footy on 9 at 9 now.
Enjoy the show.
The working life. You wake up.
Why should your workday be like everyone else's? This is more than just a job. This is an ADF career. Make your impact.
The end of financial year is always the start of something special at Toyota. It might be the start of a relationship that lasts decades, or a day you'll remember for the rest of your life. Perhaps you'll discover it's the start of something new, or a future you feel confident about. The day you get your new Toyota is the start of a feeling that never leaves you, and that feeling starts right here at your local Toyota dealership. Toyota.
Get $50 off Amy Comprehensive Car Insurance when you quote and buy online. Now that's pretty lucky, particularly if a bird drops through the open sunroof of your car, causing you to swerve and have a prang. Even though it doesn't feel lucky.
Lucky you're with Amy. The Plush end of financial year sale is on now, with up to 50% off a huge range of leather and fabric sofas, recliners and modulars. Save up to 50% off at the Plush end of financial year sale. On now. Think Sofas, think Plush.
We know owning a car these days isn't cheap. At GIO, you can save 10% of your car insurance premium when you quote and buy a new policy online with GIO's online discount. Get a quote today.
Of Toyo Tyres. Get in before June 30 at Tyre Power, Australia's biggest independent.
Hungry Jack's is bringing home the bacon. The OG Baconator. Flame grilled Aussie beef. Sizzling bacon on bacon on bacon on more bacon. Oh, the Baconator range. The burgers are better at Hungry Jack's.
When it comes to security, you can never have too much. Westpac. Layers
layers and layers of scam and fraud defence.
It's the 40 Winks end of financial year sale. Snuggle up to big savings with up to 50% off mattresses and up to 30% off furniture. Shop online or head in-store today. Hurry, limited time only. Terms, conditions and exclusions apply. 40 Winks. Serious about sleep.
When you unwrap an Uncle Toby's muesli bar, you're unwrapping a slice of pure... with its explosion of Aussie oats and delicious choc chips. Unwrap the yeah.
Experience iconic Northern Lights rail and sail from $10,999 per person, including flights. Explore Finnish Lapland, ride the iconic Flom Railway, cruise with Hurtigruten through Norway's fjords and more. Search Trip a Deal now.
Go Harvey Norman half-yearly clearance. Save $1,300 on Samsung 65-inch AI OLED Smart TV. Save $150 on Fisher & Paykel 8-kilo front-load washer. Buy a Dyson Wash G1 and get a bonus Dyson V8 stick vacuum. Best prices guaranteed at Harvey Norman now.
If you ask anyone what their favourite meal is, it's often something your nan made. And Italian nonnas have made that idea famous. There are songs, documentaries, and even movies celebrating them. So we sent Lizzie Pearl into the kitchen to find out the secret ingredient. But the person behind the stove had us doing a double take.
Hi, Jess. I'm Lizzie. Nice to meet you. Thank you for having us.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you for having us, Bart.
This is Nono Bart. He knows a thing or two about the kitchen, which means first, it's straight to the garden.
That's a broccolini.
For homegrown veggies.
That's a broad bean.
This is why you're so strong and healthy, huh?
Yeah, but I'm 81 soon.
81?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, wait.
Today it's rapini, straight from the backyard.
Beautiful. Done.
Done.
We're going to cook.
Nono Bart is Jessica's dad. She's the brains behind Nono in the Kitchen.
Look at that.
Oh, nice.
A YouTube channel showcasing the wisdom and family recipes of not only her own dad, but Nonos around the country.
This is my recipe.
Or in a culture where the woman, the nonna, is in charge of the kitchen, I thought it's very rare to find a nonna that can cook. So I'm on the hunt for them because there are so many that have reached their 80s and 90s and still have never stepped foot in the kitchen.
Nono Paolo sharing his family favourite chicken in creamy mushroom sauce.
How old are you?
91.
No way! Can you tell me where you were born?
Procida. It's an island in the Gulf of Naples.
Vincenzo is 93. He makes lunch for his family every day. Nono Vince plays the harmonica and makes his pasta from scratch. And yes...
Oh my God, you got a stove out here.
Yeah.
That's an outside stove.
I love their food memories from so long ago when they remember their parents and all the memories it brings back. I love to hear their stories of when they migrated to Australia, with whom, why, their struggles, their triumphs.
Bart will tell you not all Italian men can cook.
I got another 4 brothers, but then no one can even fry an egg.
Today, Nono Bart is cooking his mother's recipe.
Today will be rape with orecchiette.
Oh,
yeah.
First, it's washing and slicing the veggies.
Half again and up.
Then we boil the water and, of course, a pinch or so of salt.
Just a little bit.
Not much.
Then in go the veggies.
Just pop it all in.
All in, yeah.
I'm learning a lot today, but
okay. So
I don't do much cooking in my
I
house.
won't charge you anything today. Today is free.
A free one.
Free school for today, but if you come next time, we'll be charged.
Then the pasta goes in, and while that cooks, Bart's got something to show us.
Okay.
Are we going in?
Yep, we're going in.
A tight squeeze.
How did you get in so easily?
And we're in Bart's cellar, stocked with tomato sauce, homemade vinegar, pickles, and
this is all full of wine.
That's all wine, is it?
Of course, it's not an Italian lunch.
Come in, come in.
Without friends. And today we have plenty of those too. Nonno Tony has brought his wine.
Bene, bene.
Nonno Frank's brought his family favourite. And Nonno Peter's been cooking too.
Buongiorno.
Come stai? Che ste casa sono gli speddi calabresi.
Calabrese.
The Italian way, la dolce vita,
Salute.
is all about friends, family, good food and wine. While Bart's back in the kitchen, Nonno Peter gives us a run-through of his dish.
They can be filled with anchovies, or sort of they can put in sugar.
And the pasta is ready.
Grazie, thank you. Thank you.
Buon appetito.
Buon appetito.
All of these nonnos have unique stories to tell. Why they came to Australia and how they keep their culture alive.
Did your mum make this, yeah?
While embracing a new one.
That's the speciality of Frank.
Nonno Frank has a traditional Italian fish dish which takes 3 days to prepare.
And what do you call this, Frank?
Bacalao.
Bacalana.
Jessica's mission is to tell the stories of as many nonnos as possible, here and across the globe, one delicious bite at a time.
So good, so good.
Around a table full of laughs and new friends, it's easy to see why this is a way of life worth holding on to.
So Nonno Bart, thank you so much for having us.
It was a pleasure having you here.
We've had the best time.
Charlie.
Oh,
thank you
ciao,
very much.
ciao.
Beautiful. Can I give you a hug? Yeah, lovely. Okay, thank you.
Hey,
Charlie, another one. Always
Italian
another one.
way. Okay, ciao, ciao. Aren't they just fabulous, and all those wonderful stories? Well, coming up, it's been 20 years since little Jordan died, but there is one determined cop who won't stop fighting for justice.
So I stuck up for a little boy who couldn't defend himself.
One of Australia's most shocking medical secrets.
Were you given any warnings?
None whatsoever.
A major investigation Sunday.
End of financial year sale on now at Eureka Furniture. 50 to 70% off store-wide. Interest-free finance up to 36 months available and most products in stock. There's never been a better time to buy. Shop Eureka Furniture in-store or online today.
The end of financial year is always the start of something special at Toyota. It might be the start of a relationship that lasts decades, or a day you'll remember for the rest of your life. Perhaps you'll discover it's the start of something new, or a future you feel confident about. The day you get your new Toyota is the start of a feeling that never leaves you, and that feeling starts right here at your local Toyota dealership. Toyota.
This is just painful.
I know, right? Heartburn sucks.
Try this Gaviscon chewing gum.
Tastes good.
Because I've got good taste.
Unlike you.
Great tasting Gaviscon chewing gum.
Yes, a buttery spread. Melt upon my crumpety head.
Please, jam and cream cheese.
Crumbly feta. How about honey?
An egg?
That sounds yummy.
Peanut butter, or bananas.
Give me butter. Make every bite golden.
Hungry Jack's fried chicken. It's different. New spicy chicken ribs. Juicy bone-in chicken. Fried to crispy perfection. Go on, get into them. Spicy chicken ribs. Pure at Hungry Jack's.
Let's see if these weekend warriors know what they're doing. Okay, lift her up. Oh, rocks for my shore. Mitsubishi's most capable ute ever. Nothing can frighten a driver.
Gone too far. Drop it down a bit. Go Harvey Norman half-yearly clearance. Up to 30% off Windows 11 laptops. Plus limited time, get 10% of your purchase price in gift cards on Windows 11 laptops. Up to 30% off Windows 11 laptops plus 10% in gift cards. Best prices guaranteed at Harvey Norman now. Save on tyres, save on batteries, save on safety checks, and save on servicing.
You'll be singing off to see your things, tires and mechanicals.
Fig Tree Estate Kyogle, generous acreage lifestyle block sized from 2 acres to 6.3 acres. With almost 50% sold, don't miss the opportunity to build your dream home amongst these beautiful natural surrounds. For more information, contact PRD Northern Rivers.
It's the 40 Winks end of financial year sale. Snuggle up to big savings with up to 50% off mattresses and up to 30% off furniture. Shop online or head in-store today. Hurry, limited time only. Terms, conditions and exclusions apply. 40 Winks. Serious about sleep.
Well, girls and boys, it's been another very exciting day for our friend Big Dog. Lots of adventure and fun for everyone. But now it's time for Big Dog to say goodnight. Good night, Big Dog. Good night, girls and boys. Sweet dreams.
Tomorrow night, fighting for baby Jordan.
A heartbroken mum.
It just hurts so deeply.
A determined cop.
It means a lot to you, doesn't it, this case?
It does. After 20 years.
Is there anything you want to say to Jordan's mum, Mr. Kennedy?
Will there ever be justice for baby Jordan?
My son is never coming back.
Can't imagine it, can you? And we'll have that story tomorrow, and that's our program. You know, we always love hearing from you, so please scan the QR code on your screen or email us. I'm Ali Langdon. Thanks for your company. It is the weekend. Have a great one.
We know owning a